Up to 50 calves in 1 year.
From seaweed farming in Kwale County.
Kumbe si tumekuwa umaskini, kumbe tuko na kitu ya kuweza kutusaidia mbeleni.
To dairy goat breeding in Kirinyaga.
Dairy goat farming is an upcoming economic activity in this country.
Solar milk cooling machine in Eldoret.
Wakati kabla sijanunua solar nilikuwa napeleka maziwa kila siku.
To abattoir construction in Marsabit County.
We are constructing one of the most modern abattoir in the country.
To tissue culture banana in Mogotio Baringo County.
After 4 weeks, they'll have given you this result.
And some of the best beef breeds in the country.
The beef from this livestock is ready for disposal 26 months from birth.
Join me, Philip Keitany, every Monday on The Next Frontier as we scour the length and breadth of Kenya to find enterprising farmers and highlighting how they make the shilling from the soil.
This is KTN News.
Welcome back. You're watching KTN Newsdesk with me, Abi Agina. And just to give you a recap of our top story, and doctors and nurses have begun a nationwide strike after talks called by the Ministry of Health collapsed yesterday. In an earlier press conference on Sunday night, Health Cabinet Secretary Cleo Famailu said the ministry had been scheduled to meet union officials who allegedly did not show up. Meanwhile, a major operation has been launched as more than 100 mental patients escaped from Mathare Mental Hospital in Nairobi due to the ongoing doctors and nurses strike. And right now in studio, we have two gentlemen who will be helping us get the way forward into this particular strike. And seated just next to me is Dr. Mwachonda, who is the Deputy Secretary General for Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union. On my extreme left, we have the aspiring Secretary General for the position for the nurses, that is Jeremiah Maina. And Dr. Mwachonda, the ministry tried to reach out to the union. You did not show up. Today we are seeing scenes where a lot of patients are actually crying, saying the situation is quite dire. How do you feel as a human being?
Well, I'll be honest, I'm human before I'm a doctor. And when it comes to human suffering in the hospitals, it's something that happens every single day. And we work in conditions that, unfortunately, and I'll say this, we supervise death. And you have to do a root cause analysis for you to understand where is the cause and go for the solution at the cause. And what was being said yesterday by the ministry that we did not show up for a meeting, I'll be honest, we were not given any official invitation for that meeting. It was a meeting called impromptu and at night. And most of our officials are not available. We needed a quorum. We actually set ground rules with the ministry on how we're going to deal with the issue. And we could not get a quorum to handle the issue.
And just before we bring in Maina, from where you stand, the key issues that you're trying to advocate for is better pay and, of course, the allowances for the nurses. So what's the way forward now that you didn't attend the meeting, the strike is on? What should you expect moving forward?
What we expect is the government to table the offer and implement the CBA. Give us a clear path of how we're going to implement the CBA. As we speak, the same government is calling for two parallel meetings, and you are left to wonder what exactly is the gameplay they're trying to show us, because we want a meeting where we'll sit all of us and solve the issues once and for all.
Maina, you seem not to agree with Dr. Mwachomba on the stand that the nurses have taken. Perhaps why don't you agree with them, and why are you not for the strike?
I would say very clear and be honest, and that this is a government-sponsored strike. I have said it very clearly, and for one time, we need honesty in this country, because the issues that are being raised for the last 3 years have been there. When the doctors and the nurses gave the strike notice, there was enough time. So we are fighting even the national government, trying to incite that, it is the counties that are supposed to have that. I believe that we have a budget process. What I would expect that the CS Treasury, not even the Minister for Health, I would see the CS Treasury come and say, this is what we have put in the budget, period. Is it okay with you? Yes or no? Go back to work. But we don't want meetings. Why would you want to call for meetings? For what? It is in the budget, it's figures, it's taxpayers' money. Give it, forget about it.
Dr. Machomba, it seems this division amongst yourselves. How do you expect to achieve consensus now that you're seeing one side is pro for the strike, another side is against it?
Well, first I'd like to say this. My colleague here says it's a government-sponsored strike. And we will put him to task to tell us how it's a government-sponsored strike. Because as far as we are concerned as KMPDU, we have a collective bargaining agreement that we negotiated for 3 good years from 2013, signed on June 27, June 2013. And we went through the process of having it implemented. We even went to court on the June 2015. And we got a ruling on the 6th of October.
Yeah.
And the ruling gave timelines. And it gave timelines, 30 days for the Ministry of Health to engage us, 45 days from the date of the ruling for SRC to give its input. 30 days expired on the 6th of November, 45 days expired on the 21st of November. We wrote, and I actually have the letters. We requested for the meetings, but unfortunately, we were not able to be engaged.
Is it true? Yes, it's true. And this what I'm saying is government-sponsored, because if it's a government that observes the rule of law, and we have courts in this country, I expect Article 10 of the Constitution bites every state and organ of this country. Why is the government not obeying? We saw it in the teacher strike when the ruling came and the government said we cannot, until we say the executive said this is the way to go. So this I'm saying that we are being put in the situation where the government must come and say this is the way to go. So basically what I'm trying to tell my colleague here, that is the government initiated, is the government that is trying to drive people on the street. It is not our own initiative, because they have done the due process. As we have not done the due process, that is why I'm so much opposed to the nurses' strike. But if we have done the due process, what else do you expect them to do? Are you together? So is the government pushing these people on the street?
Okay.
Yes.
We just want to pause for a minute and cross over to Kisumu County just to get the latest on this particular ongoing issue of the strike. And we have Rashid Ronald standing by. Rashid, what's the latest from you?
Yeah, thank you very much. As you can see, I'm in one of the wards in Kisumu District Hospital, if you like, sub-county hospital, and it's a pediatric ward. You can see it's abandoned. The patients who are here have either decided to go home, or some have decided to visit private hospitals. The beds are empty there. Earlier on, the nurses were demonstrating along the streets of Kisumu. They are demanding that they must be paid. The CBA has to be met if they are to go back to work. So still a lot of stalemate around here in Kisumu. Hospitals are deserted. I was earlier on at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Referral Hospital, and as I said earlier on, it's like a school on Monday, a primary school on Monday at around 9, because there are no people there. The usual ups and downs. There were no people there. The few patients who are being attended by interns, you can imagine. And back here to where I am in this pediatric ward, a very interesting story. Everybody has gone home. The children have been taken home except one baby. They call her baby, probably, karibu tueleze kuhusu baby, anaitwa baby nani? Baby Hope. The baby was abandoned here about 4 months ago. So she's been under the care of the hospital from that time. So when everybody went home, she remained here alone. No one to take care of her except some 2 ladies who've been taking care of her since morning. Hebu karibu tueleze kuhusu, sogea kidogo. Mshikie. Hebu tueleze kuhusu Baby Hope.
Mimi kwa majina anaitwa Sara Kirubo. Huyu mtoto Baby Hope tulimwokota huko nje. Kwa saa hii amemaliza miezi 3 hapa ndani. Unajua vile nurses wameenda mgomo, amebaki tu peke yake kwa ward. Sasa tunashangaa atakaa aje. na sisi tukitoka saa 11 tutamwacha tu peke yake. Hiyo ndio huzuni yenye niko nayo. Naomba tu mtusaidie tu, hata mtafutie tu orphanage penye ataenda. Kwa chini tukitoka hapa atakuwa tu peke yake. Hiyo niko na huzuni sana. Naomba tu usaidizi, mtusaidie tu.
Yeah, you've heard a very, very sad story from here, Kisumu. This is a pediatric ward, Baby Hope, nowhere to go. The nurses are nowhere to be seen, doctors nowhere to be seen, except these 2 cleaners who are taking care of her. And of course, they're going to leave here at around 4, and they're wondering who's going to be able to take care of Baby Hope. That is the sad story here in Kisumu. Back to you in the studio.
Well, many thanks, Rashid Ronald, just talking to us from Kisumu County. And of course, gentlemen, sad state of affairs. How does this make you feel as you continue to agitate for what you're standing for?
Well, I'll say this. The health sector is a sector that has so many players. We are employees, we have employers, and we have a leadership in this country. And it's really unfortunate that we can see such things playing out. Because when leadership or a government signs a document and goes through a process and decides, in fact, in the court, it was clearly mentioned that the 2 government agencies had colluded to permanently frustrate the process of having a CBA for doctors. So where does the buck lie? Is it the health worker or is it even the government here? Because this is not just purely us as health workers. The government has a responsibility to take care of Kenyans. The Bill of Rights is very clear in the country. So at this point, when you push someone to the wall, we cannot do everything in the health sector. The other players who are responsible should also take their responsibility and do their part, not abdicate their responsibilities. And if we went that way, then I don't think we should be able to see such things playing out.
Maina, just your reaction to what you've just seen there in Kisumu County. Baby Hope was abandoned, having no one to attend to her after the cleaners leave. Was there any other alternative solution towards this?
I think whatever my colleague have said is the correct thing. It's worse off. It's better we stay at home. And this was said for security reason, because most of the time you'll find that like now, the county government, the national government, they are lowering infrastructure. They are not adding human resource. So you are constrained. In fact, people go out because of burnout. Since 2013, how many strikes? I ask, was the only health workers who are devolved? Does it mean that people have to work and go on street to get paid? I think somebody is playing with the Kenyan lives. So I agree. This is not a bad situation. The worst situation is when you have a demotivated worker in the workplace. You give them new machines, they cannot operate, they are not trained, and then there is a public rally outside there, and you're telling them, we have opened a theater, we have opened a dialysis unit, we have opened an ICU. I think this is the frustration that we're experiencing, and we are finding that is a political thing that needs to be sorted out.
All right. And
yes.
Dr. Machonda, just before you jump in, it is clear that you are trying to push for this CBA to be implemented. But in reality, majority of the strikes that have happened in the country have not been successful. What do you make of this? Do you feel this time around things will be sorted out?
Well, I'll say this. Basing the success of a strike and how you analyze it is a very complex process. Because when it comes to our strike this time around, we've gone through a process. It's taken 3 years, 67 days. 21-day notice plus the 45 days from the court ruling, day of the court ruling. We are fast approaching the 90 days for which the CBA should have been presented to court for registration. So, in truth and in all honesty, we cannot say that it's just the health workers in this. And I'll be very honest that we need to look at our country in the sense that we want to go towards universal health coverage. Because universal health coverage, one of the key pillars is a well-motivated and well-trained health human resources. And we as doctors and nurses, and he's here, is that we have 2 levels of government and we are like the grass here. When the 2 levels of governments are fighting, we are the grass. And the public is with us. The CBA is going to help the public because I told you, universal health coverage has a key pillar of a well-motivated and well-trained healthcare workforce. And beyond that, the CBA also provides for employment of 1,200 doctors annually to serve the same public. So when you motivate your doctors, you ensure that there is distribution of doctors. That it also provides for creation of 400 positions for specialist training. We have very few specialists in this country. So you look at the context of the CBA, you realize that we are actually moving the country towards universal health coverage, and human resources need to be sorted once and for all in this country.
All right. And Maina, your closing thoughts on this?
I think we need a political solution. We need the president. The summit now should be sitting. We don't want the national government bringing the county. There is the intergovernmental relation that need to sort out in case of any crisis. Let them sit, sort out this once and for all. I'm a Kenyan. I don't apply to be sick. No Kenyan apply to be sick. I'm an employee. I have a legitimate expectation if I work. So let us have a permanent solution, but not a knee-jerk reaction to every situation that we have in this country.
Many thanks, gentlemen. Jeremiah Maina, aspiring Secretary General for the National Union of Nurses. And we're also speaking to Dr. Mwachonda, who is the Deputy Secretary General for the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union, just talking to us on this particular developing story around the crisis that has befallen the health sector. And we want to cross over now to Kakamega, and in Kakamega, pain, agony and hopelessness characterize the scenes at Kakamega County General Hospital as the medics' strike continues to bite. Distraught patients are being turned away to seek medical services in private hospitals. There were reports that a patient hanged himself in a toilet in the hospital at midnight as the strike began.
Uonekane Kenya mzima kwamba umepaka hapo na yeye mbona ile KTN
Tinzo yangu ndo maana sori ni mwananchi sio kama ni government inafanya PR wa
wafanyikazi Mama Rachel Okumu, the DEC for public service.
Indeed, saddening developments there around the health sector. And in Embu, Senator Lenny Kivuitu is asking both the county and the national governments to intervene in order to ensure that lives are not lost during the ongoing strike.
I'm very, very disturbed about this doctor strike in a level 5 hospital in Embu County. We cannot afford to spend so much money building a big hospital like this, and then there are no services. Worst of all, when you hear a pregnant lady is giving birth on a corridor due to lack of doctors, due to lack of services, is very traumatizing. There's no politicking that we are using here. Human life of Kenyans is so vital that we should not use any kind of politicking or any kind of excuse when we know very well government of Kenya has given billions and billions of shillings to the county government in order to render services. No wonder. You know, when people are telling me to come and run Embu County, now I'm even more convinced. If we can be given money and we cannot manage our health facilities, understandably, now the nurses are going also to come on the strike. And this is not a laughing matter. Something that has been running on for 3 weeks. 3 weeks without health services in a big hospital. I think the oversight committee of Senate needs to come into this. But then even if they come, before they meet, now Senate is in recess, we cannot afford to wait for people to die so that we come with an excuse. Something must be done. Even if it means national government stepping in, we shall try and cure the wounds if the county government is incapable.
From Embu, let's cross to Meru, and in Meru, relatives of patients admitted at the Meru Teaching and Referral Hospital are being asked to collect their patients from the hospital and seek medical services elsewhere. The CEO of the hospital, Dr. Gishuya Mraria, says the hospital is not serving any patients.
Preparation as the administration in this hospital is that since we enjoy goodwill and partnership with the surrounding institutions, which are not of public nature, we intend to reach out to them and consult each other as to how the burden of management of our patients may be shared among our colleagues in the private institutions and also in the faith-based, hoping that it will be a short-lived strike. But you realize that this is not just a Meru issue. There's a national issue which needs to be addressed nationally with the cool heads, without chest thumping and feeling that if whoever is asking for certain things to be rectified wins, then the other party which has made them win has lost. I think that is something we should remove from the discussion table. That is not a question of who wins and who loses, because it is a win-win situation that will bring rest in peace to, to the atmosphere of health workers in this hospital. At this particular time, we encourage members of the public and the relatives of the patients to at least help us by taking their patients who are able to ambulate, to walk on their own, so that we can decongest the hospital.
Well, according to the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, these are the cadres of the health workers who are on strike. And if you can now join us on our Super Bowl, just walk you through some of the officers that are currently on strike. And so far, the medical officers, that is the interns, they're actually taking part in this particular strike, which kicked off today. And the other category of people that are on strike are pharmacists, the people handling the drugs at the various pharmaceutical stores across the public hospitals. They're also on strike. We also have dentist officer interns. And as you know, in public hospitals, the interns play a critical role in the running of operations. We also have the pharmacists as well as the dentists. That's just to give you a sense of some of those officers that are on strike. And we also have some more here. And the medical specialists, that is the consultants, are actually also on strike, as well as the medical superintendents and the county directors of health. And the other category is the doctor administrators, the sub-county medical officers. All these constitute part of the people that are actually on strike as the country goes into this particular strike at the day one of the strike. So that's just to give you what's happening on the ground in relation to developments around the ongoing public strike by the workers. And moving on now, hundreds of squatters living in Ugatuzi, Lamakani and Barawa in Kisauni are asking the state to lift the eviction notice slapped on occupants that they actually own land. The National Land Commission, however, maintains that the area has a legal owner. Francis Ontomwa with more.
Should the National Land Commission effect its eviction notice, these families will be rendered homeless. The over 800 families gathered here to Gatuzi in Kisauni to ask the state to rescind the order and allow them to present their petition. The National Land Commission holds that these residents occupy someone else's land. Zoom Investment NLC says has legal documents to lay claim of the property, but they are ready to fight on.
Sahi hadi tunasemekana tutoke hapa. Hiyo shamba watu 6,800 watolewe hapa kwa sababu ya mtu mmoja eti inasemekana ako na hati miliki.
Sisi raia tumeamua kuvua nguo na kuogelea hili janga la ardhi na mababu zetu. Rais, tunasema hivi rais, mpwani amechoka kugandamizwa. Sisi wa pwani hakuna mtu ambaye atajiita yeye ni tajiri. Na utajiri waja kwa njia ya ardhi.
The tussles began some 6 years ago when a private developer approached NLC to revert the land back to him. Some families have already settled here, many already having put up permanent structures. They say Zum Zum doesn't possess real proof that the land is his.
Hapa ugatuzi hatuna amani kabisa. Ukisikia tu wameingia ndo hao hujua hata ushike mtoto.